Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. I'm Nicole Kauffman, and today I'm going to be giving you my 36-week pregnancy update. If you stuck around last week and saw the video, which I will link to below, I was asking the question, am I in early labor? I was having a ton of symptoms that were really characteristic of early labor, and they were coming and going, and they still have not stopped. So I'm still experiencing a lot of these symptoms, and I'm going to be talking about that. I'm going to talk about what I've learned about prodromal labor versus early labor, and just give you a couple of updates that are going on right now. So last week I was looking at early labor, and I had just started to experience these painful contractions. I had just started to experience the feeling of the baby pushing down, and a couple of other things that were kind of concerning. I had some watery stuff leaking out of me, so they checked if my water was broken, but it wasn't. And so since then, which most of this I guess would have been over the week of the 35th week, but I've been having a lot of the same symptoms. The contractions have definitely gotten stronger. I have them consistently now, but they're not always painful. They tend to get really painful at night or in the afternoon or evening, depending on, I have no idea what it depends on. So I was really doing what I do best and researching a lot, because I'm like, what is going on? Why am I experiencing this? And I found the difference between prodromal labor, early labor, Braxton Hicks, and I was just kind of looking at that. And honestly, I mean, it's definitely not worth dwelling over, even though I have been, because it's all kind of like the same. Like, it could mean something, it could not. It could mean it's happening soon, it could mean it's going to be still weeks. So last week I had shared up until Wednesday, and up until that point I had had a few nights of contractions that were kind of keeping me up a little bit. And since then, so last Friday, I started having a lot more consistent contractions, and they were what I thought were Braxton Hicks, but they were definitely stronger and they're timeable. And that's the difference between Braxton Hicks and like preterm or prodromal or early labor contractions that aren't painful, is that the Braxton Hicks aren't timeable, and they're going to stop when you move, when you drink water, when you rest, when you do something different, they're going to stop. But for me, I've been having these for a while, but they definitely started getting a lot worse last Friday, and they're timeable. So during the day, I was noticing that I was having a ton. My stomach gets like really tight, and then I sometimes get like a little bit of cramping, but it's not super painful. It's just not noticeable. Like with Braxton Hicks, I feel like they weren't as noticeable. It was just tight, and sometimes it made me like catch my breath. But these were definitely more intense, but still not super painful. And so I ignored them for most of the day, and then as the day went on, it was like the afternoon, they were getting more and more uncomfortable. So I was like, maybe I should actually like sit down and actually time these. So I actually laid down in bed first. They say you need to drink a lot of water and lay in bed. And so I've been drinking a ton of water with all of these. And so I laid down for like an hour, and I was just watching YouTube videos and trying to rest. And they were definitely coming every 10 minutes consistently, and they were not slowing down. And as I was laying there, they started decreasing. They were every like 7 minutes. And then by the time my husband got home, which was like an hour and a half later, they were every like 5 to 7 minutes. They weren't painful, but they were kind of bothersome and timeable. And so because I was still 35 weeks, they had told me that I need to call if I'm having consistent contractions. So I called, and I'm like, I'm having these contractions that are like every 5 to 7 minutes, but they're not really painful. I honestly did not want to go in. It was Friday night. It was we were expecting storms to come Saturday, snowstorms, so I didn't really want to go in. But because I was early, because they were timeable, she pretty much said the only way for us to check you is for you to come in. So we spent our Friday night back in triage, and that's where she told me they weren't Braxton Hicks. They were definitely, she called them preterm contractions. I think it's just so hard because everybody calls everything something different. But they were definitely contractions, and they were definitely significant, but they weren't like dilating me. So I was still 1 centimeter. I think she checked. Yeah, she checked. So, and she said his head is still really low. So I'm having these contractions. Obviously, they're not labor contractions. At this point, I'm pretty confident that, like, although they're sometimes painful, labor contractions are going to be a lot more painful. I'm still not quite sure how painful, so we'll see once the time comes. But we came home that night and went to bed early. And Saturday was a snowstorm. So I've been just, the whole last week, I was just really, really struggling emotionally because of all of this stuff and being home and cooped up inside. And Saturday was just like the tipping point. My husband was home, but he was working on our closet doors, which we have one up. So he was working on those closet doors, painting them, getting them ready, and a couple of other things around the house. So I was kind of still like as if I was home alone, and I've been home alone for like the whole week almost, because working from home and having all this stuff, I've been resting a lot. So I was kind of losing my mind. But Saturday night, we ended up, I don't know if we watched a movie or what we did. And then by Sunday, I was like, okay, I'm done with this. I want to get out. So we ended up going to church. The snow wasn't terrible. It was like a lot of snow, and then it turned into rain. And so it was kind of icy, but by the morning it was warm. So we went to church, saw some people, and then that afternoon or evening we went out to just grab something quick to eat, like Salad Works, not waiting for a check or anything, because I'm still, all weekend I'm having these consistent contractions. So Sunday night was the first time that literally I was up almost all night. We got in bed early because I was really tired, and I started having painful contractions, and they were definitely more painful when I was laying down. But I was like, okay, like, let me just keep resting. Let me see if I can sleep through this, because if this is going to turn into labor, I'm going to need my rest. So I'm trying to sleep through it, and they were every 10 minutes, and they kept waking me up. Like every time I'm just about to fall asleep, I would have one. And so I was like timing them for a little bit. They were every 10 minutes. I got up. I tried sitting out in this room in this chair. That made them worse too. Like I wasn't quite sure what I was supposed to be doing at the time. So I was all over the place. Then I finally got in bed at like 12-ish. I think 11:53 was like the last one that I timed. And I was like, I really need to fall asleep. So I'm like trying really hard. I finally fall asleep for like an hour. Then I wake up again, and they are still happening, and they're a little bit more painful, and they're every 7 minutes. So I'm like timing them, do the same thing. So from like 1 to like 4:30, literally I was awake. At some point I did call the doctor just to check in and be like, they're not like really excruciatingly painful, but they're every 5 to 7 minutes. Is this like something to be worried about? And she pretty much was like, I think you're fine. Like wait till they're closer. So I just got so frustrated at that point and ended up just getting back in bed, and eventually probably around like 4:30 fell asleep. So it was a long night. And then thankfully I was able to sleep until like 7, I think. So I was able to get a little bit of sleep. And at this point I'm like convinced, okay, things are progressing, things are moving forward, but still the next night I slept and nothing happened. I did end up losing my mucus plug, and I think the whole like bloody show thing, they're very similar in what they are. It's just like the color's a little different. So that happened Saturday and then Sunday, and then ever since, well, I guess Monday, Tuesday, it was like still a little bit of stuff coming out. So then I got like excited, like maybe this means something is happening, but all this to say that I've been having all of these symptoms, and I do think that it is prodromal labor, which like everything else could be weeks, could be days, could be hours. So I've been trying to like refocus and just realize that, I mean, I'm 36 weeks now, so I've been doing a lot more. I've started like cleaning up more. I cooked like a double meal last night so we could freeze some, and I'm going to be making freezer breakfast sandwiches for my husband because he loves those. So I'm going to be doing that either tonight or tomorrow. So I'm trying to like have some plans going on just as like distractions, because it's so hard when you're having all these symptoms and you just like want your baby so bad. And I just really, really want to like have the baby, but obviously I'm trying to wait and be patient. So I'm trying to just really enjoy this time. I had this thought the other day, 2 thoughts that really helped me with kind of coping with this time of just emotional overwhelm and all of the symptoms. The first thought is that it's not like, it's really been hard dealing with this, and it's been hard feeling like, when is the baby coming? And we go in and we're like, maybe this could be it, and then it's not. So we come home and it's like good because it's still early, but at the same time we had gotten excited. So I've just been like struggling with this back and forth. And it feels like I know there's nothing to be like sad about, but it feels like sad. And I just realized I was kind of looking at it as if like I was losing out on something, or there was something sad, versus like I switched my mindset to like, my time will come. Like this is leading to labor, whether it's going to take another 2 or 3 weeks, or whether it's going to be in a couple days, it's going to lead to labor. Like the baby's going to come out of me at some point. So I think that like really helped me having that mindset shift and just knowing that this is gonna happen. It's not something that may or may not happen. It's not like I'm hoping for something and then disappointed because maybe it won't ever happen. Like the baby's gonna come out. So that really helped me. That was the first thing that helped me. And then the next thing that helped me was just like realizing these are the last days before I'm a mom, before I like have a child to care for all the time, which I'm so excited for. But these are like the last days that I have to just really soak in this time and prepare and like think about what I want from motherhood and what I want from like just this new journey that I'm taking. And so I've been doing a lot of journaling, a lot of like reading my Bible. I've been reading this book that I really like, which I can link to below if I can find it. But just like a lot of just reflecting and just slowing down, because I know once we have the baby, once everything progresses, it's going to be crazy for a little while. So I've been trying to just enjoy this time. And that would honestly be my biggest recommendation for you if you're struggling with a long prodromal labor, early labor, whatever it is, that just to really, one, remember that the baby's going to come and just trying to get through it, knowing that, but also just really taking this time to appreciate where you are. If you already have kids, appreciating the time that you have with those kids without the addition of another one yet. And just trying your best to like really appreciate that, even though if you're anything like me, you're like desperate to just hold your little baby. So yeah, that's my biggest, I guess, advice. I know it's only been a couple of days that I've had this mindset, so we'll see where this goes. I am really hoping that something progresses soon. I've definitely been having increasingly painful contractions. Last night I definitely had a lot of, I say a lot, I know when I'm actually in labor it's going to be like way beyond like all of my descriptors now, but like compared to nothing, I definitely have been having more back pain with them last night, more hip pain, a lot of like pressure like inside, like it's not like my pelvic bone, it's like inside, like where the baby's head is, pushing down, a lot of pressure there. So I'm like, something has to happen soon. So there's a low pressure system coming in on Saturday. Maybe something will happen then. When we were in on Friday, there was another blizzard that came through, and I could hear all the ladies outside the triage room talking, and they were like, oh, like so many people came in today with their water breaking, and so many people are going to come in tomorrow because of this low pressure system. So I was like, oh, maybe this could be me this week, but we'll see. So I've been really excited. I've been watching a ton of like labor and delivery vlogs and trying to just prepare for labor. I've had a lot of time now to kind of step back and actually prepare for going through labor. As many of you may know, I'm going to be doing no epidural. That is my goal. But with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, there's a lot more, and with Chiari malformation, which I share in this video, which I will link, there's a lot more of a risk with doing an epidural. The risk, they told me, the anesthesiologist told me that the risk is a little bit lower with spinal tap because the needle is smaller and the dose is lower. But there's all kinds of risks for the epidural, and I already was like, thought it would be really awesome not to do one, but now like knowing all these risks and that they could potentially really make my conditions a lot worse, I'm really, really hoping to be able to do it without the epidural. So I've been doing a lot of different things to prepare for that. If you are interested in hearing what those things are, I can make a whole separate video on that. But yeah, this week I've been just looking at like how to progress contractions when you start having them, and just doing different things. Like I was just laying down every time I had them, but that's like the worst thing you could do. So I've been getting on my ball and just like kind of doing hip circles and just a bunch of different things like that. So I don't know. Am I in early labor? Am I in prodromal labor? Something is happening and it is really uncomfortable and really hard. And every couple of nights I'm like up all night with contractions. So I'm hoping something happens soon. I can't wait to meet our baby. But I will, I guess, update you again if we don't have him by next week. But I'm really, really hoping that we do. If not, I will have probably some more mental coping mechanisms, because I'm really an impatient person and I struggle to wait. And so this has definitely challenged me and helped me to grow a lot. It's also helped me to grow a lot closer to God. I've been going through the devotional that I created, which I'll link, for my other blog and the Monday Motivation section of this channel. And it's actually been really encouraging and really helped me to just get into that dependent relationship on God right now before I have the baby, because I am nervous about postpartum anxiety, postpartum depression, and just overwhelm and sleeplessness. I don't normally handle that well. So I've been taking this time to really grow closer with God, which has been really cool. So yeah, that's my 36-week pregnancy update, and I will definitely let you guys know what happens, whether it's before or after the baby. So if you have any thoughts on prodromal labor, if you experienced prodromal labor, I'd love for you to comment below. Let me know your story or any questions. Maybe I will have come across some answers in my own research, or maybe you can answer some of my questions below. But it's definitely a crazy time, and hang in there if you're experiencing that. We can hang in there together, and I can't wait to hear from you guys below, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.